Hi, my name's Cal. I'm what people call a shut-in. I've always been an introvert. I find it hard interacting with people. Even my parents get annoyed with me sometimes because of it. Look me in the eyes when I'm talking to you, son. You look so shifty all the time. It's why nobody wants to make friends with him. Mom tried to hook me up with her office mate's kids, but it never worked out. Dad got his friends to convince their sons to come round for game nights, but they all found me too weird. I loved RPG games. I loved gaming way more than going out there and hanging out. And they laughed at me for that. Why don't you ever go out? Instead of meeting girls at parties, you're in your room playing games. As a girl! He's probably one of those weirdos that have a thing for girls that wear cat ears and act all cute. Good luck with marrying an anime loser. The only friend I had was the neighbor's kid. Her name was Sasha, and she probably only stuck around because she had no choice. At Mom's insistence, Sasha took me with her to this back-to-school party where all the incoming seniors and juniors were invited. I was the only one who wasn't. Tuck your shirt in! I don't think anyone's gonna even notice me there, Mom. Much less my shirt. Now, that there attitude's why you don't got no friends. Make sure you don't embarrass Sasha. Sasha dumped me the moment we got there. But instead of embarrassing my only friend, the exact opposite happened. I was trying to mind my own business, looking at the floor and tapping my toes to the music, when out of nowhere, a group of girls came up to me. Hey, wanna dance? Wanna go up to my room? Get off him! I saw him first! I wouldn't have ever thought any girl would come up to me at a party. Much less the popular ones. But then, 2 more. 5 more girls began to stand around me, waiting their turn to talk to me. What is even happening right now? But just as I was starting to have a good time with the girls, Sasha came back with 2 drinks in her hand. When she saw how everyone was trying to make out with me, she downed both drinks and stood on a table. Why is everyone out for this, loser? Are you really sure you want to be kissing that mouth? We're neighbors, you know. And my bedroom window looks into his bedroom window. And this guy does nothing all day but obsess over his pretend girlfriend on his computer screen. You want to compete with a cat ear wearing e-girl? I once saw him kiss her through his screen. Ugh! Sasha was not only embarrassing herself, she was embarrassing me. The guys, too, realized that all their girls had left them and come to me. So they started throwing stuff at me and shoving me towards the door. And when the host of the party saw that his girlfriend was trying to save me from being kicked out, he grabbed me by the collar and threw me into the pond. I got home muddy and smelling of algae. The guys tagged me in a video of me getting owned, and everyone left mean comments. I swore I would never go out to a party ever again. I logged onto my game to escape the sad reality of my life as an outcast. But as soon as I opened my Discord, I was met with a deluge of notifications. Every single girl at that party was trying to add me, and they were all secret gamers who knew my character's reputation. They all wanted to party up. I could hardly believe it. But before I could figure out what to say to them, I heard a rustling outside my window. And then a tap. Some more rustling in the corner outside my room. And then, a soft knock. I was creeped out. Especially since I was alone in the house. My parents were out partying with their friends. I saw an envelope slowly being pushed through the gap under the door. Then there was a giggle, and whoever it was began to run. I opened the envelope despite my trembling hands. Dearest Cal, you are cordially invited to join the world of Enchantadia. A real-life RPG organized by our secret society. Huh. Is this a prank? No return address. No venue or time. Nothing. Then I heard some scuffling in the corridor. Was it a cat? Surely no cat has footsteps that heavy. I was afraid, but I steeled myself, grabbed my baseball bat, and opened the door. I saw a shadow leap down the stairs, and I ran after it. It had cat ears on. The downstairs light was off, and all I could see was its silhouette. But I saw that it hadn't noticed me yet, so I leapt from the stairs and onto my target. We tumbled over the carpet, and when I landed on top of it, I saw that it was a girl, wearing cat ears. She looked exactly like my in-game character, Marina, even down to the pattern on her cat ears. She looked at me with pleading eyes. Her mouth was speaking soundless words, and then she fainted. Her sleeves were rolled up, and I saw an address and a time scribbled all over her skin. Is that... Am I supposed to take her there? Is this... Has the real-life RPG started? I looked up at the clock and saw that I had less than an hour to get her there. I carried her to the passenger seat of my car and drove like a madman. Halfway to the address, the girl woke up. Oh, you saved me. Taking me home? Thank you. Who are you? Are you with those live RPG guys? You've won 10 points for saving Marina. That's me. Ooh. 10 points? What does that even mean? She said no more and pointed at the huge, imposing gate where we stopped. I expected it to be some sort of party, thinking back on the letter. Instead, it looked like an abandoned mansion. I can't walk. Carry me. I did. I knocked at the door and it creaked open. But then a strong whoosh came at me and the room filled with a funny green fog. My vision blurred, and I felt lightheaded. But before I fell to the floor, I saw a bunch of girls in weird costumes walking up to me. One of them patted me on the head and rubbed me under the chin. And then everything went dark. I woke up and it was dark. The only lights were coming from torches on the wall. My head was resting on someone's lap, and when I looked up, her neck was adorned by at least 10 necklaces, and on her head was a crown. What? Sasha! Sasha was unconscious on the floor beside me. What was she doing there? The girls all formed a circle and they started chanting. What sick ceremony is this? The torches blew out. A chill wind rushed towards me, and then the room flooded with light from above. Sasha stirred awake. The chains that bound her fell to the floor. She started walking up to me with a smirk on her face, and then she kissed me! What? Why? It's like kissing my own sister! What the... Have you been part of this all along? Oh, don't be so uptight, Cal. Suddenly, the girl who was keeping my head on her lap spoke. I am Dahlia, president of the Society of Marina. You are here, dear player, to go through the trials of fire, defeat the monsters that roam this land, and earn points according to their difficulty. Saving one of these girls earns you 10,000 points. The princess has been taken, and you must rescue her. Do so, and you shall win her hand in marriage. I had 1,000 questions, but before I could open my mouth, the lights went off again, and there were screams and shrieks. When the lights came back on again, I was alone. And there was a sword and a rock in the middle of the room. I immediately grabbed the sword and pulled it out. It was made of wood and foam.
I ran outside and found that behind the house was a huge garden the size of 2 football fields. There was a maze, a stable, and a forest lay beyond. Something jumped up at me and I recognized him as the host of the party from before. I didn't even think. I just brought the sword down on him and hit him in the forehead. A huge cartoon bump appeared on him, and when he fell unconscious, a trumpet sound came from above. An announcer called out how many points I earned.
20,000 points!
I rushed to the maze where hands grabbed me through the hedges, and they were giggling. I found out they were the girls from the party. They all ran after me, but I finally escaped. Then, the guys from the party dressed like goblins came and attacked. I noticed they were blindfolded and their hands were tied.
These boys were mean, so now they're the monsters of this world. As punishment for them, you get to defeat them with this club.
A huge club fell from the sky and landed in my hand. I hit the guys with the foam club and they all ran, tripping over their own feet and landing on the puddles of mud all around.
150,000 points!
I must have fought 100 other guys, and I went through the woods and hunted in the caves and tree houses for girls that had been tied up and rescued them. At the very end, there was nowhere else to go but an amphitheater ruin. Intense music began to play, and from the top of the ruins came the biggest, baddest boss fight of all. It was Dahlia herself, and beneath her, struggling in chains, was the cat girl I first saw at my house, Marina.
Help! Help me, my prince!
Dahlia raised her hands in the air, and 20 monsters appeared behind her with nerfs. They aimed, and 100 projectiles came at me with such speed. I rolled and dodged, and I ran up the steps as I threw my club and took down 3 of the monsters. I then took a nerf from one of the fallen monsters, and one by one, I hit all the others right on the forehead. I drew my sword and leapt up in the air to defeat the only thing standing between Marina and I. But then, out of nowhere, Dahlia produced a sword of her own. We dueled for 5 whole minutes. Then, I noticed she was getting winded. I only needed that 1 second where she took a breath, and I rushed towards her feet and swept her leg, and she fell out of balance. Before she knew it, the tip of my sword was at her throat. Dahlia's face was full of fear, and then I heard chains. It was Marina, and she was rising up with a sword held high above her head. She was quick, but I was quicker. I reversed my sword, and before she could hit me, I hit her. Victorious music filled the amphitheater. Dahlia was the princess this whole time. She was the real Marina.
Congratulations, challenger! You have earned 1,420,609 points!
I got a notification, and when I opened it up, my bank balance showed I had $1,420,609 more than I used to. I couldn't believe my eyes. And then I noticed the drones. They had been filming that whole time, and it was being live-streamed. Marina and the cat girl congratulated me. All the girls I rescued and even Sasha came to hug me. They told me I was famous. The live stream had over 1 million people watching, and from that day on, I became a superstar streamer. Marina's real name was actually Dahlia. We got married for real, and I became the envy of all those monsters I defeated.